Hi everyone and welcome back to Aviary. Now you may recall that the old set of flights which are behind me, I mentioned about 6 weeks ago that we're going to be renovating them and we're going to be improving them to make them better suited to breeding as we do now with the British Finches and the Canaries, as well as just making them look a lot better and matching the other setup, the other aviaries and the bird rooms that we have, so that everything sort of comes together as one good big project. Now it's took me a while to do it, just because I wanted to get everything perfect, as well as quite a bit of money to get this bang on. So as you can see, this used to be what it looked like, and this is halfway through the build. So we've got our plastic dividers in with the PVC, and we'd yet to have the log lap and the finishing, adding the finishing touches to the aesthetics of the build. Previously to that, we had our dividers as actually some willow sort of fencing, and it was not very good, especially when you had crossbills in there. The crossbills would destroy, would get through it, chew it to pieces and shred it so easily. So by building it like we have now, we've got UPVC sides on it from the outside here. We've got a divider here and a divider here, which are all UPVC. We've got a big wooden divider here, which was original, and then obviously we've got our next flight. So we've got 3 flights here, which are what we're going to be using next year for the breeding season of the mules and the hybrid pairs. Obviously, if you've not been following along and you are new to the channel, we've got some bullfinch hybrid pairs that we're going to be doing. It's going to be native bullfinches which are going in here, and we might breed a straight pair of bullfinches as well for the large flight. So just to give you an idea on dimensions, these are 8 foot deep. They're about 2.5 feet wide. They're about just over 6 feet tall, and this one's an 8 foot deep by 4 foot wide flight. And this is going to be great for more the storage of the spare birds that we have and we build up, birds that we need to have on on call and on tap should we need them for the breeding season. As we know and have experienced this year, is that many things can go wrong throughout the breeding season, such as losing hens on nests because of a heat, and it can be something as simple as having them an outdoor flight and the hen just refuses to get off the nest because she's so keen on keeping the youngsters warm or the eggs warm that she can cause harm to herself, or something like that. So if we do lose any birds throughout the breeding season, well, this flight's going to be perfect for dealing with that. And what we can do is we can have multiple birds in there. So there's probably going to be several pairs of canaries, there's probably going to be some red poles in there. We're going to have our reed bunting cock, he's going to be in there as well, unless we manage to get a hen for him. We'll probably have a spare green finch cock in there as well, or a spare greeny hen. Yeah, so we're going to have a bit of all sorts in there, and it'll be a good mixed flight, because not only can we have them as spare birds should we need them, but we can also pop some nest pans in for them, and hopefully we might even get some youngsters bred in there, whether they be straight breeds, whether they be canaries, red poles, greenies, or whatever we have in there. But they could also be hybrids, so we could get greenie mules, we could get red pole mules, we could get red pole greenfinch hybrids. We could have a bit of all sorts going on in there, so that's going to be something I'm looking forward to. Now, what I've done with this flight as well, as I've mentioned, we are renovating the flights, and it's come to almost the final point. The only thing left to do will be to cover the mesh in black paint, and what that does is it makes it almost see-through. The eyes don't pick up as much, and you can focus on the birds a lot better. We've done that previously with our old or newer flight build, the newest project that we've had since, which we did in about June, July time. And the black mesh on that really does make a difference when looking at the birds, especially with the white background. It just matches and looks brilliant. So that's the last thing that needs to be done on these. Once that's been done, we're going to be wrapping the flights like we've similarly done to the other flights in a clear plastic sheet, and that's just for the winter. That's just as a bit of draft proofing, because when it does get cold in the winter, low sunlight as well as other things like that, then we can have the flights wrapped all nicely, and it's going to work out really quite well for all the birds that we're breeding, and just keeping them out of that draft in the winter, because they do get exposed to it quite easily. Colder temperatures, so when it is cold, and we're talking it could be -2, -3, -4, or even lower than that, the idea of having something like this is that by covering the front, the draft doesn't affect them. They can cope with the colder temperatures, which is generally no problem. But what we do avoid is any problems with you know, the draft getting the better of them, which it really can, and we can lose birds, and that's the last thing we want to be doing, especially as we look to prepare the birds for the next breeding season. We're bringing on new stock, which is perhaps even better than the stock we've already got, and we're trying to bring, you know, we're bringing in birds to improve the birds that we've got, to build on them, as well as having the really good birds that we have produced this year. Well, they're going to be out in the flights, if not in the cages for the shows, and we just don't want to risk losing them. So having flights like this is great. Now, something as well to mention with the flights is having these UPVC dividers. They're so easy to clean and disinfect. You know, literally can get a jet wash, as I've previously done with the others, just jet washing it down, just pressure washing, and we'll just jet wash it down. It gets rid of all the crap off of it like that. And then if you want to, and I do this, is I use Clean and Clear Check Mite. That removes any mite. It's like a you know, it removes any bugs and anything that's bad for the birds, and we just wipe the flights down with that, and it works really, really well. And the flights are all nicely cleaned, they're disinfected, so if we're using them for quarantining, if we brought some new birds on, then they can go in there. If it's a breeding season, we want to clean them down and make sure that there's no nasties in there that could affect the youngsters later on, you know, as they hatch and they develop, because we don't want them picking anything up that's not right. You know, it could even prevent black spot. Hopefully if they're clean and the parents are all right, then it could even prevent something like that. So that's really the overall build. Now, something I've done as well is I've said about having this flight here as a holding flight, and that's going to be, you know, throughout the breeding season, but also this time of year while we've put all the canaries in there, all but the razzers, and the razzers are going to go in once we've literally just wrapped the flights in the plastic, as I mentioned. And it's just worked out really well. So what I got was from Direct Bird Products, some plastic V perches, specifically, you know, they're specifically made to suit finches, so that the correct size. They're not pigeon perches, they're finch perches, and they just go there, and what happens is that the birds can sit on those by themselves if they are getting bullied, and a bird can't come and sit next to them and bother them. If they're going to, you know, as they will sit on the perch and they excrement, then the poo will go on the bottom, and then we can just scrape that off, and it's nice and clean. You know, disinfect it if you need to. But also what means is that when you have that, is you can actually put them up above each other, so the bird below can't be fouled on by the bird above it. And they're just a really nice little addition to that. They're just going to really make a difference for the breeding season, I think, in making sure that the birds aren't getting picked on, as well as just at this time of year, just giving them that room from each other. I mean, there's plenty of room in there. We've got baths in for them all. We've got a huge bath tray, as you can see at the bottom, for those canaries. It's going to work a treat. I mean, they absolutely love it. They're bathing in there all the time, and it just gives them loads of room. So anyway, guys, that is our newly renovated flights. I think they look brilliant, especially when we compare them to the other flights. They're almost matching, and I don't think there's really any more improvements we could do on this other than just painting the mesh black, and then they will be wrapped up for the winter, as I spoke about previously. I'm just really looking forward to getting them ready for the breeding season, when we go out, and we'll collect some different branches, you know, different sort of cover for them. So we'll collect pine branches, which generally do work quite well, especially for the bullfinches. I think that's going to make a really good difference. Conifer, stuff like that, which will last a long time. Once they're all sort of ready and presented nicely for them in breeding season, I think it's going to look fabulous, and I'm really looking forward to bringing you guys along with that journey. So if you have enjoyed this video and you want to see more like this from OC Aviary, we've got these flights, we've got a bird room here, we've got more flights over there, and another bird room. We keep British finches, canaries, and things like that. So if you want to follow along, make sure you subscribe down below. Remember, it is free to subscribe, so you get to follow along the whole journey, and hopefully you'll enjoy more of the videos that I'll continue to produce on a weekly basis. But if you have enjoyed this video, guys, as well, smash the like button, and I'll see you next week in the next video.